Good morning, it's Thursday, and I thought I would begin my annual trip down memory lane. These, however, were picked by me because this last year I haven't had much of a 2020 memory lane. So, when I was going through some things, doing a little bit of a cleanup and dust up, I found these two, and I loved them both. I loved doing them, I loved everything about them, but when the year was up, I set them aside. I've had a heart-to-heart with myself, and I've decided that in 2021, I'm going to be working in these two again, primarily because they have stolen my heart, both of them. I'm going to begin with Mona Vanna, and I'm going to set Cherryblossom aside. I found Mona Vanna, of course, at an antique mall, and she was on the top of a pile, just looking at me, with the lovely gold in beautiful condition, Mona Vanna by Maurice Maeterlinck. The cover was in just delightful condition, and my hand went right out immediately, and especially for $2. So, let's have a look at this book, and let's date it. There he is. New York, London, Harper Brothers, when they were still called Harper Brothers. And the year of this book is 1903. Pages are typical of the era for books that were not top-rung quality, but are wonderful nevertheless. So I left, of course, all of these pages in the front. And here's our start on November 5th, 2016. I think you can see the best right there. Oh, when we have the back of a page, I think I better leave it here. Stenciling using my very happiest Target egg, glimmer egg. These pages just seem to set the tone for the rest of the book. I use some of my larger stencils here. This is an original doodle, and I use some of my very much loved Joe Sonia gold paint. And I have one, I think I have one tube left, and I've had them for 25 years at least. I glued 2 pages together, and here we have another page following the idea set down on the first one. I did a little girl, and I had fun doing her. She is reminding me that I must do more faces because I love doing them. So there she is in a close-up. And some bits and bobs of stencils. And some of the glimmer egg again. Or I could have used something with a little bit more glimmer to it. I'm not sure. I don't remember at this point. And one more, still following a theme, for the 2 candles. This one was on 11/27, 2016. More similar carrying through of the previous pages. I have no idea why I did that. As you can see, I have a little bit of difficulty turning pages because of my fingertips, but I'll do my best. Some doodling, some collage pieces. And here we go on the first double spread in the middle of December. A piece of collage, more collage, stamps, stencils, following out the same color theme. Oh, I loved this one, because anything with a book in it makes me a happy girl. And here we are getting close to Christmas. And I remember that I cut this Christmas tree, I think, out of a Victoria magazine. And I did lots and lots of stamping. Nope, sorry, not stamping. This is stamping. This is stenciling. Some more of the tiny bits from Victoria magazine. Because of the size configuration here, I felt as though the things would fit, especially these packages, and I made an imaginary package display under the Christmas tree. Some silver paint. Oh my, don't I just love this one. This was my very favorite. Still is now that I look at it. This was a piece of needlepoint, practice piece of needlepoint. I was going to use it for belly band, and then I decided no, I wanted to be safe and sound, so I put it on this much loved page, and I used some more of this page as a strip over here. I believe that is a stamp that I colored in. Some more practice pieces, and this is beaded. Let me show you this a little bit closer. And on this one, I added a piece of collage with some sticky parts underneath that would let this raise a little bit, and then I used my letter stamps to make "Find an Old Friend on a New Path." Oh yes, oh yes. And these, of course, are pieces of needlepoint canvas. And this one was done on 12/31. Oh, yes, done on my birthday. It was a birthday present to myself, and I certainly love it just as much now as I did then. Some more. This, I'm not sure. This, I believe, is a, could be a stencil or a stamp, or it could be Carol. I don't know. It's a long time, and I've done a lot since then. But a lot of collage, backgrounds, stamping, and stenciling. And this is a piece of needlepoint on needlepoint paper. I'm going to be doing more of that in 2021 because the paper works beautifully. I doodled a flower, stem, and a leaf. These, of course, I doodled on, but I also used some paint because this is needlepoint paper, remembering the word paper, and I'm so tickled with the way that one came out also. That one is the end of January 2017. Here, February. I do believe, yes, I do believe these are napkins that I put down on a similar background that I found over here. Some doodling and coloring. And I want to say that I used pastels and sprayed the page. Used pastels, yes, because it's not coming up, to bring out the depth of the colors on the napkin. I was having a yellow moment, as you can tell. I guess I was looking for spring to start. Stencils, doodled around, background stencils. And this one, I decided to do a pocket in this page. I wasn't really too knowledgeable about the concept of pockets, but I decided to make it work by the fact that it was two pages were glued together, so I could make the slit in just the top one. And this was made to complement. hang out the top. And this color goes so beautifully with the Mona Vanna cover color. So here we have acrylic paint through stencils. And here I decided to do, in March, I decided to do a half and half, and I decided I would do half a girl. And here another girl. And woe betide if I don't get back to doing girls again in 2021. After this year, I think I ought to do exactly what my heart calls for. Stencils, acrylics, more on her hair, stamps. This one has a piece, of course, my cut-right waxed paper in here to keep it. This is not by me, this is a piece of collage, but I have that in here because this is oil pastels. Just kind of put on there very loosely and freely. Again, sticking with the background design that I started out the journal with. And I must remember also about the oil pastels, because they do lay down a beautiful, rich, but soft. They look like velvet. Let me put that back right there where it will be safe and sound. Oh, another girl. And I love that hairstyle. Don't know why, just do. Here's another girl, and I was practicing making a little bit wider face, and some doodle flowers that I used. I should have another piece of, oh I do, wax paper on this one because they are oil pastels. And this one I just decided to do a city, and this was my first attempt. Sky. Let's cover this up. Oh my, didn't I come out of my comfort zone on this one in May. I don't really know quite what I can say about this one. I was having a moment, and all of you who do this know about moments. It just happens sometimes, and then you can't stop. I guess my feature colors were pink and blue, and some, there's an awful lot of doodling on here. There's some stamps that I recognize. These are doodle flowers. This is a piece of collage. More collage. Stencil. My, wasn't Carol right? Out of her comfort zone there. Ah, coming back with lots of collage. Now these pieces are getting larger, and I'm getting freer in my Mona Vanna using bits of collage, and they are shiny bits, so they were obviously out of magazines. There's lots of doodling, stamping, collaging, acrylicing, if that's a word, on this page, and it's in June 2017. Stencil. I obviously wanted to try circles, and my circle and my star stencil that I've had for one of the first ones that I ever purchased. And you'll notice I even embellished this with corners. And all of the background, on the top layer of background, are combination of stamps and doodles and collage. We have collage pieces here. I remember this was out of a magazine. The background for these stars as a background for is the pieces of paper out of a mag, and some gold to just pop them forward. I had one precious piece of my needlepoint practice canvas left, and I decided to work the entire piece around the colors here. All of this, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2 over here, 3 over there, in August 2017 were pages out of that I ripped up from magazines. And of course you can see the backgrounds are, again, stencils and some doodling upon here. Not too much, just a little touch. But I was happy with the way this came out because the colors were so strong, almost like my feast in yellow. But this piece was, oh my, that's silk. I used to do things like that. Think nothing of it. Well, let's see, do we have any more pages? Yes, I decided to skip some and give the pages a rest. And here we are, back to the home pages. A lovely piece of collage that I used my Jo Sonja Gold on, and a very small, fine stencil, and a piece of collage here. And I embellished it with my pen and ink. I have a date on it. My, I have changed horses in midstream here. Let's see if this is anything in here. No, empty page. And we're at the end of the year, 12/17. Another Victoria Magazine Christmas tree because of size, and some more of the packages that were still left in the magazine. Collage pieces, collage heart, and I did some doodling. Let's see if we have any more. Oh yes. This is 1/2018. A newfound passion. Yes, I thoroughly enjoyed this, and if you'll notice, I still have some pages left. I still have some pages left for 2021, and I'm going to do it because it's such a happy making book for me. Collage, acrylic, stencil, all to play up this gray bit that I found in a magazine, and some doodle flowers, and silver, something that I don't use often because I'm all about Jo Sonja Gold. So this, I believe, brings us to the end of the book. It starts at 17 and ends at January 19. And it's not going to end. I have some more pages, so we're going to be playing in here again. The book has room for more, and if it doesn't, I shall just find something to tie around it. But there's a lot of art love in here. So I'm going to set that aside and bring out Cherryblossoms. Cherryblossoms is a Japanese book, and I did not bother starting from the back. I worked at the back, but I didn't start from the back. In this book, I did add some of my Jo Sonja stenciling here, and drew in my the leaves were a stencil also, and I added cherry blossoms. There were a few of these, and I kept one for myself. I believe I still have one more fresh one, and I sold some of these in my Etsy shop. And here is my introductory page, a mixture of watercolors, would you believe, on this plaque, some more of the stencil, and much doodling, and one piece cut of collage, and this was from January 2018 to start this one. And this one takes a little bit different path than Mona Vanna. On this spread, I had this piece of a piece of collage, probably from a magazine, and I did a sky back here, put this down, and decided that I would make this a plaza. So I added this to it across the page, and then I plopped down in acrylic, I plopped down a huge clay pot with a tree, and I can see here that I used a card and just probably my finger to put down the leaves, and then I painted in some flowers in the bottom of the pot. Okay, here we have a combination page. This is a collage bit from a magazine, stamp. I like to make sure that I try to keep my Japanese script showing wherever possible. This is from a napkin. Sometimes you just wish you could get back in time and wonder what you were thinking about when you did these things. Okay, now this one has something clipped on. Oh, this is just an added clip-on to bring out the coloration. On this page. I thought it needed that little touch. Now, down a different trail. Lots of collage bits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And some acrylic on the background. Some stamps. Some doodling. And pictures, a picture of two major pictures of needlepoint work that from my needlepoint magazine that I was still getting at that time. And here's another one. And this is all played up about two things. This birdie and this piece of blue and white porcelain. This birdie absolutely still tickles me just as much as this page in the other book. So, birdie on top of blue and white. Hypothetically, it doesn't happen. It doesn't work. But on my planet, this blue bird on top of this blue and white porcelain works a treat. A large piece of collage here, some collage underneath here, and then some doodling to play up the flowers on the piece of collage, some doodling on the piece of collage. But I finally got to use the bird that I was hoarding. I don't think there's anything there. I skipped over a few pages, and yes, I glued pages together. And art a need, and doesn't that say it all? Doesn't that say it all for all of us who understand this is the truth? Collage pieces are very flocked and dimensional papers. I believe this came from Joanne Fabrics, not Joanne, A.C. Moore. And these came in a packet of interesting papers that I don't see around anymore, but boy, I wish I'd known that they were not going to be around for too long, because some of them almost look like handmade papers. And look at this combination. Look at this combination of ochre and purple. Who'd have thought anything could be quite, those two colors together could be quite that pretty? some acrylic painted flowers surrounded by doodling, more over here, and this piece of flocked purple with a floral, and the Japanese script showing through. In April 2018. Now this one, in May, the focal was this hydrangea, and I used this little bit of the focal here to suggest a leaf, and then I did all of this area in doodles, and these leaves are collage also, so we have collage here, here, and these leaves, the rest of the flowers, and this is a watercolor background, and acrylic paint to do cherry blossoms. See if we have any more here. Ah, yes, this is a favorite, page 2. It strikes me as so fitting for a Japanese book. I fussy cut this piece of collage, and then I challenged myself to paint some berries, blueberries, to look like the ones in the piece of collage, and I'm quite happy. I patted myself on my shoulder. I certainly did. In the quiet of my little studio here, I just thought I was just the cat's whiskers. I was very happy with this. This is all painted and doodled, except for this major piece of collage work. That's a favorite page of mine. More yellow. When yellow happens to Carol, I just go with the flow. This is a piece of collage, this is a piece of collage, and this is a piece of collage. These are some of my posies that I painted and cut out. Sometimes I include them in packages on my Etsy and whatever. I just do them because I enjoy doing them. And I decided, well, that was necessary right here to bring out the yellow here. In fact, this was the starter. I saw the yellow. Didn't know I was going to find that and that. Lucky that I was. These, of course, are doodles. And there's a little bit of stenciling on the background. When yellow happens to Carol, everybody clear the decks. Let's see now. Ah. A girl, because of the flowers here, but not the girl first. The first choice was this piece right here, which came from out of the background of this piece, came out of my glue book, my cleanup glue book. And I just had some greens and pinks and a little purple on the page, so I ripped out a chunk, and I used that as my focal. And then I found this piece of collage and a girl. Then I decided to use acrylic to add the leaves and the flower and the leaves in acrylic with a little bit of doodling on them, and the serious doodles over here. And if you'll notice, I ran this flower off the side of the collage and onto the edge of the paper. This is another happy making page, only because of this serendipitous piece of cleanup paper. You can see Cherry Blossom is different and yet the same from Mona Vanna. Here is a lot of collage, different pieces from different spots. This is all doodles. This, I even used some stickles on this one. Boy, oh boy, Carol out of her comfort zone. Stickles. Not that I'm knocking stickles, they're wonderful. It certainly still looks lovely on that page. So we have a piece of collage, another piece of collage, an L-shaped piece of collage. This is background paint, watercolor, or it could be gouache, watercolor gouache. Probably that because of the little bit of chalkiness in this color. And the end of a much-loved book. And look at all of these pages that I have left for 2021. So these books are nostalgia, but they're going to be revisited in 2021. I hope you have enjoyed this little trip down memory lane with me. If you have, I would appreciate your giving me a thumbs up, leave a comment, and I would appreciate your subscribing to my channel. And I hope that all of the speaking of subscribers, boy oh boy, I've had quite a few lately, and I thought that you might like to see the incarnation of the previous Carol and what I did until I made the move into journaling, junk journaling. These mixed media books are happy making because they do have collage, and I think they started me down the road to journaling. Bye now. See you with another visit down memory lane.